Yeah.
So with imposed will, what's the goal moving forward with imposed will?
Um, dude, it's just I feel like it's just kind of like more of the same. Like there's some things that we're kind of working on, like kind of like working on the business, kind of help it grow. It's kind of like just all shit, but I mean, ultimately, man, like the mission's kind of just figure out different ways to like help people and like grow the brand and the community. And then, yeah, man, just capitalists and just always look for ways just to for sales and push the seven
Sure.
figures, dude.
Yeah.
Well, not and
Absolutely.
because I know it's big in the jujitsu space.
Yeah.
Is that the main focus? Are you looking to branch out into other things or?
Yeah, for sure. So, I really dialed in on jujitsu first just
That makes
because,
sense.
yeah, there's so many t-shirt brands,
Yeah.
it's such a saturated market, right? I mean, I'm selling a commodity.
Mm.
I'm under no illusion, right? So, I tried the t-shirt thing and I was like, well, let me do something that's a little more niche and then something that I'm familiar with. So I chose the jiu-jitsu community first and there's still a lot to do there. Like we're doing okay, but I mean, we're mostly here, but like we are spread throughout the country. Like we get regular sales from like throughout the country, but it's like um, there's just still so much growth to do. So we'll still do more in jujitsu, but I'm definitely going to expand, like with what you guys are wearing, just more in just like general
Yeah. Athletic whatever.
athletic wear,
Workout clothes.
yeah, athleisure. We still need to roll out like our women's line, but then just expanding to more sports. So I kind of like break up. If I'm getting in the weeds, just let me know. But
No.
like
No,
I kind
go
of like
for it.
break up the business and like two like kind of two buckets. And like first is like, like the direct to consumer, which is like kind of like what you guys are wearing. Like those sales are a little bit slower. Like most of our business is like B2B, like working with gyms and doing like custom gear for those guys. So just from like a growth standpoint, I'm definitely going to focus more on like the B2B and expanding into other sports. Like my son's doing club volleyball
Okay.
and I think there's a huge market for that. I mean, like I had to order the uniforms. Like, oh, I can make these, and like one of them is literally just a rash guard, so I can definitely make those.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna definitely start attacking more of these team sports. Um, Wrestling will be one. Last year we did a deal with like the Raleigh School District, and like so we did like their middle school and we did their kids club. We're gonna do their high school coming up.
Like singlets.
Yeah,
Oh,
singlets.
cool.
So yeah, we'll just start expanding into these other sports. Wrestling, volleyball, soccer, track, some of the more easy ones, and then start trying to hit some of the bigger ones, basketball. But
Hockey would be a good one because I know a lot of hockey. Like, well, I mean, I've worn my rash guard, especially there's rinks here that are outside that we're playing pickup games, and we'll
okay,
throw a rash guard on underneath just to stay warm.
yeah,
But I know a lot of guys that just wear that in general underneath their hockey equipment. So that might be another one to
for
kind of
sure,
break
dude.
into.
I mean, ultimately, dude. I mean, I'm the big picture plan is to like build a Nike, like
Yeah.
be everywhere
everything.
in all things. Ultimately, I want to bring our manufacturing in house, so that way we're like creating jobs and we can
Yeah.
make things here. And,
American made. You could
Yeah,
advertise
100%.
American made. Or
yeah, and
stuff
I
like
think
that.
what
Yeah.
we all kind of saw, especially with like the lockdowns and just supply chain issues. Fortunately, like for me as a business, like I wasn't super affected by that. We don't really do a lot of like big freight um on ships, but it's definitely something to be aware of. And like I'll talk to people and it really pisses me off because they'll all say the same thing, like, well, you can't make money doing American made. It's like, well, bullshit, why not?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
There's
mean?
people
It's
that are
like,
doing it.
and there's a reason why it's difficult now, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. So I think Origin's really shown the way.
I was gonna
That's
say
what I was
one
gonna
hundred
bring
percent
up.
with that. So whether or not we're like we have looms and we're going for like that I don't know like when we'll get there, but doing like cut and sew and bringing stuff in house and giving people careers and skills. I mean, I don't see why we can't do that. So like big picture, that's kind of
That's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, and
Well,
with
because they did your kit, right?
yeah, you guys
That
did.
was awesome.
Yeah, I love that. It's
That
my
was
favorite.
fucking-
I
that
wear
was
it all the
sweet.
time.
thanks,
It's
dude.
my
Yeah,
favorite
I really
one.
appreciate that too.
Oh, of course, bro.
That
It
was
looks
awesome.
sick, and I got an extra rash guard too.
Yeah.
Sweet. This is awesome. I love it, man. I
Yeah.
wear it all the time. That and the shorts. I mean, it just looks sick together.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I
It's a
wasn't
good
able
look.
to pull out the win on that one, but
Hey,
rocking it. But
that's
all
all right.
good.
Yeah, you
Plenty
still
of
got the
other
gear,
times
though.
to wear it.
Yeah.
For sure, dude.
Oh, for sure. It's gonna be my definitely my competition kit for sure. Anytime I compete nogi.
Yeah, you've been competing quite a bit, dude.
Yeah, it's been a good really because I had those basically two of the pro super fights like almost like back to back like 3 weeks apart, which was really cool. I loved doing those. Those are really fun. Just having the kind of one off match. unfortunately, my last one, I had a opponent change like the day before. I was
Yeah.
supposed to be going up against Sean Woodson,
Yeah.
and I was kind of had a whole game plan for him, and being an MMA guy and not being as, I was going to get way more jujitsu, like try to footlock him or
Okay.
do something like that. I was going to pull guard, which is very, I never pull guard. I always make the joke that it's against my religion because I wrestled,
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna pull on this guy because everybody I've trained that I know that's trained with him had said he's pretty hard to take down because he's so tall.
Yeah.
And
He's long.
yeah, have you trained with him?
No. So we were one time. I think we had an opportunity to train together at the Hit Squad whenever I was still fighting, and I ended up spraining my knee like early on in sparring. So I only got like one or two rounds in that day, so I didn't get to go with
Yeah, and yeah, so I was that was the game plan at the time, but then my opponent changed the day before, and I was like, all right, well, I don't know if looking back on it, I probably should have just stuck to this game plan because that's like all I was drilling for like a month before.
Yeah.
I was like working on this pull specifically that was going to get me right into where I wanted to be, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go back to Old Faithful, and I was able to, I was doing all right in the match, but then he ended up putting me in that weird. I don't know if you remember it or saw it, but he had like I got submitted from top of side control.
Oh, really? It happens.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. So, yeah, but oh well.
That's funny. Dude, he hasn't got you into jiu-jitsu yet?
No, I've started.
Okay.
I went for 3 months and then hockey started. So hockey's always been my love.
Yeah.
And so I played twice a week and then throw in single dad life, work, coaching. I coach a baseball team. So
nice.
throw all that in. It's like
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only so many hours.
Yeah, where am I
day.
going to fit jujitsu in? So like once hockey season ends, which is in March, so like it'll probably like obviously I'm not looking to get into it to compete. I'm looking to get into learn the skills, learn all that stuff. So it's probably for me it's going to be a March through August type thing to keep me in shape when I'm not playing hockey. That I can substitute for those 2 days that I'm not playing hockey. I can throw jujitsu in there, but that'll be from like March through August that I do jujitsu. And then once hockey starts until I get to the point where I'm done playing hockey. But I love playing hockey.
You ice hockey or roller hockey?
Ice hockey.
Nice.
Yeah, I started playing when I was real young, and that was my sport growing up. And really only played baseball just to stay in shape during the summer. But I just happened to be really good at baseball.
How many fake teeth do you have?
0.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So like growing up,
You didn't play hard, bro.
I just that's the thing when you're growing up and you have to wear a face mask, like a full mask all the way up. And I never got to the point until, playing in men's league hockey of wearing a half shield, but you're playing against a bunch of older guys that know how to control their sticks. So it's not anything that you really have to worry about. So
yeah, everybody has to go to work the next day. So no one's
exactly. You're out there having fun, skating and still being competitive. So it's not anything that you really have to worry about. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So all my teeth.
All my teeth. Got them all.
Yeah. But no, I loved jiu-jitsu. I had a blast while I was doing it. I was getting my ass kicked constantly, which was great. I mean, I went to a couple of the basic classes to get started, but then with this shift in my coaching schedule during the summer for baseball, the only time I could really make was in the morning, which was the fundamentals. So I had like 3 classes of basics and then thrown right into the fundamentals and just getting my ass whooped by a bunch of blue, purple, brown.
Where are you training at?
Watson's.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, because Kyle, I'm not sure if he does like a kind of, because his school's so big, he does like an intro course. He calls it the basics, where you're kind of there for your first like 2 or 3 months, kind of in a class with other brand new white belts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a class I taught for about 2.5 years until we had our second kid 6 months ago, and I was like, I just don't have time anymore.
Yeah.
And it's cool because just kind of it's an easier way. His retention, I think it definitely helps with your retention of students, because like where I first started at Finney's, like like just my very first day, just kind of got thrown to the wolves. It's like a sink or swim kind of thing, and
that's most of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, for sure. And but I think this is a good way to do it, where you kind of get introduced to it slowly, and you're in there with other brand new people, so you're not just going in there and just getting dominated by some guy that's been training for 10 years.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. I teach on Wednesdays at 6 at St. Charles, and at 5, there's a fundamentals class, but inevitably there's always somebody brand new to come take my class. And I teach a lot of basics. Like I don't do crazy stuff, but like ultimately, it's just the pace of the class is just.
This is a lot faster.
Yeah. As I kind of, for my class is kind of understood that you have a certain baseline of knowledge.
Yeah.
Because some days, like I do a ton of teaching, but honestly, some days I'm just like, look, dude, we're just gonna go.
Just gonna set the time.
Yeah, dude, like we're just gonna go maybe live from positions, or it's like for my warm ups, I do floor rolling. So it's like if you don't have any jujitsu,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense to you. It's like you might as well just sit on the wall and watch, which is fine, but it's you need a certain level of understanding for my class. Because it's like drinking from a water hose. So if you are brand new, you can take the class, especially if we're just drilling a technique or something. Like you'll figure it out, but you're just trying to figure out which way is up.
Oh yeah, especially when you don't know anything. Like it's
that's the thing is like I got in and I think the only submission I had learned at that point was the north south Kimura, but I only did it for one class, so it's not like I really had a grasp on it.
Right.
And then the next class I'm in is the fundamentals class, and I'm like the drilling that we did, like I was able to pick up on the drilling, but I'm like those guys are moving at such a quick pace, and the way that they're practicing those drills versus the way like I'm going extremely slow and methodical just to kind of get used to the moves, and these guys are flying through it. And I felt bad because I felt like I was taking up time from their time being able to train. Because I was going so slow with this stuff. But then like once we started the sparring and all that stuff, I mean, shoot, the first guy I went with armbarred me in like 10 seconds. Right. And I was like, well, fuck me.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a big guy. Nobody's gonna be able to submit me.
And that's not, I didn't think that. That thought was gone. That thought was never in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, like after I started taking, more and more classes at the fundamental levels and learning, the like starting with the grappling and all that, like I was okay with the grappling stuff. I mean, being a bigger guy and I mean, Zach and I grappled and sparred a few times that, I feel like I'm pretty tough to take down. Once I got the hang of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from that, like once I'm down, like I'm like, all right, what the fuck do
now
I do?
what?
Now what? Just don't let them do this.
Right. Yeah, like all your natural human reactions are get you in trouble.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
Yes, it's like your natural instinct is you gotta like untrain that.
Yeah, everything's counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you think you want to turn your back to get away from this guy, and it's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah,
especially with wrestling. Like that was a like a habit that I had going into jiu-jitsu, or like I remember like if we start from the feet, like getting taken down or something, I would immediately like belly down, and that's like the worst thing you can do in jiu-jitsu, or I'd get caught in triangles constantly. All the wrestlers, just driving forward and then just getting caught. Like I always, my first class just got triangled like 3 times by Amanda Clifton, who's a black belt. I don't know if you know Amanda, but beat my ass.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Super humbling.
Super eye-opening. I was like, God damn this. And it made me like open my eyes to it. And I was like, man, I got to learn this shit.
Yeah.
It's so fun though, man. It's been one of the best things I think I've ever started and done is jiu-jitsu. I've actually haven't trained in almost 2 weeks now. So I'm looking forward to getting back in there tomorrow. We just got some tattoos over the last week and
looking good. What'd you get?
I got a
samurai sword,
a samurai, and then a koi fish on the inside here.
Oh, that's sick. Where'd you go?
My buddy Caleb Giannino, he's at Tower Classic.
Okay.
He used to be at Art Monster, but he moved shops recently.
Nice. There's so many good artists now.
Dude.
Once upon a time, like you had to really search, and now I mean they're almost everywhere.
Yeah, like everywhere you can go pull up someone's Instagram and be like, holy shit.
Yeah, so many good artists.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I see the one you got on your hand. What other ones do you have?
Oh yeah, on my hand, I got my forearm, my thigh. I got several.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty inked up.
inked up. Yeah. Been wanting to get it all the way down to my wrist for a while now, so I'm glad I finally pulled the trigger.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of hours.
How many sessions?
This from the elbow down was 3.
Okay.
We did it. It was probably 15 hours or so total.
Yeah, it's detailed.
Yeah, took a while, and then up here was another 4 sessions. Those were probably 4 to 6 hours per session. So a lot of hours on that arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but